The world is coming to Dubai, and so are the Americans. But what is actually attracting them to come to Dubai? Today, to discuss this, I have a very special guest on the show, GG Benitez, who's an international luxury real estate specialist from California, San Diego, to discuss what's going on and what is actually attracting Americans to Dubai. Without wasting any further time, I would like to straight get into the episode. But before I do that, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Your likes, comments, and shares are really, really welcome, and they really help me grow my channel. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do follow. Now let's cue the music. Hi Gigi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Why don't you start with introducing yourself so that the audience knows what you do? I mean, I know, but still, just for them to know.
Definitely. So Gigi Benitez, my actual real name is Ghada. I'm a first-generation Arab American.
Nice.
And I am a certified international property specialist.
Very good.
And a licensed realtor in California, bridging the California and Dubai real estate markets.
Great. What gets you to Dubai, Gigi?
So actually, being born and raised in the United States, immigrant parents, both Middle Eastern, I had really no desire to come to the Middle East.
Yes.
I had preconceived notions myself of what it would be like. And I kept hearing about Dubai is different, Dubai is unique, Dubai is progressive. So last year, actually a year ago this month, I decided to finally come and visit one of my best friends from high school.
Right.
Ended up moving out here. She actually worked at the Palm Jebel Ali project.
Yeah.
So I finally came to visit. The second day after I arrived, I started crying.
Yes.
I can't even explain to you how it felt for the first time as an Arab to experience this diversity, but yet warmth and connection to my Arabic culture. So I have a PR firm. I didn't do real estate, but after that first visit a year ago, I decided I wanted to continue to adventure here in Dubai and started to do some research to find out what were the hottest sectors, what business could I integrate with the United States where I live and my connections there. And of course, as you know, real estate, top sector.
Absolutely.
So went back at home, secured my California real estate license, studied further to get my designation as a certified international property specialist, came back here in February and spent a few weeks immersing myself in your real estate market here.
Yes.
And now I'm back trying to educate the Americans about what's happening here.
That's great. That's great. Tell me something. When you talk about Dubai in general as a place, forget real estate for a moment, okay? One thing which I've noticed is that world over, people have different impressions about Dubai. So when you're talking to someone in the US about Dubai, what is their first impression?
This is the constant phrase you will hear, that Dubai is Vegas on steroids.
Right.
And that's, why would you go there? Go to somewhere that's more cultural, more historic, more authentic. I've traveled to Europe several times. But actually, and there is an aspect to Dubai that is the glam, the showy, the restaurants, every restaurant is trying to outdo the other, the hotels. But however, what I fell in love with Dubai is in fact the cultural, the Dera, the Fahidi neighborhood, and the diversity and the welcoming of all different cultures and nationalities. So for me, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yes.
It is not a Vegas on steroids unless that is what you're looking for.
Exactly. No, I mean, there are two sides of Dubai, exactly like how you have Instagram versus reality. So there's one Dubai which you see on Instagram, and then there's the reality which is, there's a lot of culture, very, not the very flashy and the glamorous kind of places, more real, more, it's got a different vibe to it and, a different feel to it. No, that's absolutely true. Now, what actually, okay, so when you came here first, obviously you saw it, saw the city for the first time and all. What actually attracted you to, do business over here, being in US?
So In my PR business, which I've had for about
Yeah.
15 years, I'm based in California, but a lot of my work is in New York.
Right.
So every 3 to 4 months, I would travel to New York, and I would feel a sense of re-energizing for my business, because that is the center of the world
Yes.
in our American viewpoint, New York, London, etc. And so that was what really helped rev me up with my business. When I came to Dubai, I felt that to an elevated level. The conversations that you have when you're sitting down with women,
Yeah.
right? Men and women, it's about creation, innovation, building, business, networking. It is a global business hub.
True.
Even more than what I had experienced in New York.
Yeah.
So I want to be a part of it. And I feel like Americans are missing out on what's happening in Dubai. We know that so many Fortune 500 companies are setting up their headquarters in Dubai. We know that Dubai is where East meets West. We know it's very business friendly.
Yes.
We know that it's the number one location for expat migration right now. Why? And why are we missing out on it back in the United States? So it just sparked something inside of me, a hunger.
Right.
And I think because I feel comfortable, and actually it doesn't even matter if you are Arab, but I felt that pull because at the same time, 85% of Dubai are expats.
Yes.
And English is the most commonly spoken language. But being that I am Arab also drives me to this part of the world now that I'm 50 years old. For the next part of my life,
Right.
You, as an American, you sometimes start to think that that's the center of the world, and it's not. And so now I want to explore the other parts of the world,
Right.
and Dubai is that hub. You start here, and then you can easily travel within a few hours
True.
to a whole other part of the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I always tell people is Dubai is the place where the world meets. You know, you get to see people from so many places around the world and so many different cultures and the food and, you know, and I think, you know, also the thing is because there's so many nationalities living here, you have so many different, restaurants from around the world. And that is, I mean, food is something which gets people together, right? You have the best.
Like the Global Village, I went there the other night. I could not believe that experience. What is it? 90 countries are represented and embraced. And when you hear all the languages, even though everyone speaks English, when you're walking, let's say in JBR on a busy Friday afternoon, I hear so many languages.
Yes.
And everyone, it works.
Yes, it works.
It just
Absolutely.
works.
Absolutely. No, the way Dubai is built, I mean, you rightly said it, it works, you know. So when you talk to investors back in the US about investing in Dubai, what are the most common objections you get or the most commonly asked questions you get?
It's a great question, because now that I've had several months of going back, and you know what's happening in the real estate market, you know that you're not really having a sell here. You're actually more just managing people, right? And like putting the buyers with the proper tailored properties for them. I'm going back and having to sell Americans because they're not in the top 10 buyers yet, right?
Absolutely.
So I've had a lot of experience of understanding and uncovering those objections. And one of the most common ones is it safe to invest in Dubai?
Right.
And so, as you know, DLD and RERA, and going back and educating Americans about that. And yes, obviously it's very safe in Dubai, otherwise you wouldn't have the world's ultra high net worth billionaires from all over the world coming and investing here. So safety. And I think that's the top. Obviously, understanding the ROI, the capital appreciation, understanding mortgaging, that is actually another probably barrier that I've had to overcome, right? Because America's very used to financing.
Yes.
And it's not that you don't have it, it just looks differently here.
Yes.
So it's educating about that process. So I think those are the two top objections that I've had to work on overcoming.
Okay. And are you finding people showing more interest day by day about Dubai?
Absolutely. So especially in California, which I am from San Diego, just got ranked as the most expensive city in the entire United States. And I'm sure you're familiar with what's happening with the mortgage rates in the United States. I mean, did drop recently, but it's still at 7.6%, I believe. So there is pretty much a standstill right now. There's a lack of inventory because people are not giving up their properties if they don't have to. They don't want to have to finance at the higher rate. And there's a lot of fear going on with the economy in the United States. So what's happening? People are holding on to their money, but they have money. they want it to work for themselves, right? And obviously we know that real estate is a global currency.
Yes.
We know the world's wealthiest have gotten wealthy because of real estate. So there is now this curiosity of, okay, why are the Chinese and the Indians and the Pakistanis and the Russians and the Germans and the French all converging upon the real estate market in Dubai? What are we missing?
Yes.
So yes, there is more interest. I and my partner who is here, based here, who has 18 years experience in the real estate market, he and I have sold property to Americans, and then through referrals and word of mouth, with already the increase in price per square footage and the increase in ROI for them just in the past several months,
Yes.
they tell their other business associates, and yeah.
Right. What do you see as the main reason for Americans to look at Dubai as an investment?
Several. Number one, there is nowhere that you can get the ROI that's happening in Dubai.
Right.
So what do you usually say is average ROI? I usually look at 10%, but that's conservatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, look, ROIs could be 10%, 11%, even 12%. Depends on what the property is, what it is.
Right, in the area.
Yeah.
So that's not happening in the United States.
Right.
It's certainly not happening in California, which is where I'm licensed. That's one thing. Short-term rental returns.
Yes.
We have very strict restrictions on Airbnb.
Okay.
So there isn't that much opportunity for the short term, whereas you're having 12 to 15%, I believe,
Yes,
short-term
people are
rental
making
returns,
that kind of returns.
and potentially even significantly more in the ultra luxurious
Yes.
areas. So that the short-term rental returns is another. And what about just diversification of your investments into, as we said, a part of the world that is a global hub?
Yes.
That is there is business being driven here. It is a top global destination with regards to tourism. The Wynn Casino,
Yes.
that's going to be a huge draw to Americans. It's a well-known name. It's the most, I believe, the top
Yes.
resort name in the entire world, and they're placing, I think, $4 billion
Yes.
in Ras Al Khaimah, which then Dubai is the hub to go there. So just knowing that the Wynn is believing in Dubai, that's another opportunity for vacation rentals.
Right.
So diversification, ROI, long-term rental returns, short-term rental returns, and capital appreciation.
Right.
And then, of course, there's that whole sector of people that want to move to Dubai for job opportunities, for their family safety, for schools, etc. So there's that. Especially we're seeing Canadians right now. I have a lot of Canadians' interest as well that are wanting to move to Dubai, because I serve Canada and the United States.
Are you seeing a lot of people wanting to move over here?
So I would say Canadians, yes.
Okay.
Americans, not as of to date. I think the Americans that so far I have sold to have been investors that actually, yes, they love the idea of having a vacation home here. Some of them actually have family, let's say in Iraq or India or other parts of the world. So now this is a nice meeting base, right?
Yes.
But Canada, yes.
Right. Got it. And with the casino coming in the UAE, is this news really big in the US?
Huge.
Okay.
Huge news, especially in California and Southern California. So we know that wherever they're, like Vegas, for example, was a huge money maker for so many investors.
Right.
And the fact that the casino it's the first gaming casino in this entire area. And so what does that mean? That means you have now additional tourism.
Yes.
Additional opportunities for those short-term and long-term rental returns. And now you have more, let's say, Western eyes that maybe wouldn't have looked at Dubai as a vacation spot. But now you're going to have more diversity even of the types of people that are going to be vacationing here.
That's true. Okay. Now, when it comes to investments, how easy or difficult do you find the processes in Dubai as compared to, say, someone who's buying, say, in the US? How do you find the processes here?
Extremely easy, especially because what my partner and I are specializing in are in the off-plan projects. So it is so simple. You get the 0%, basically, it's considered 0% financing with the developer through the construction period. So that process is quite simple, managed through the escrow account, which is managed by the government. So it's very safe. They don't have to come here
True.
right? Everything can be
Yes,
done
everything can be done
virtually
remotely.
online.
Yes.
The difficult part has been to help Americans truly understand that it's not a sales pitch when we
Yes.
say that when something's launched, it sells out within
Yes,
hours.
that's very difficult
So
to
that's part
explain.
of like why I come back and
Yes.
forth is to actually film what it looks like on a launch day so they could see with their own eyes
Yeah.
the cues that line up, like when
Yes.
Palm Jebel Ali,
Yes.
right? And why is that? Because some of those people may not even be betting on keeping it long term, but they know, which is another huge differentiator, that they can flip it, that they are not stuck in an off plan
Yeah.
throughout the entire development period. Whereas in the United States, you cannot do that without a penalty. You cannot sell your off plan until it's completed.
So you're telling me that if you buy a property in the US which is off plan, you cannot sell it midway.
Absolutely
You have
not.
to wait till
Yes,
it's ready.
or you face a penalty. So
Wow.
the fact that this means that their money can be more liquid. You're on this 0%,
Yes.
right? You're down, you put it down, 20% down payment. You're on the 0% payment plan with the
Yeah.
developer. But once you hold on to it, for a year, depends
Yeah,
on
it
developer.
depends, yeah, what
right?
project it is.
If you want to recover
Wow.
your money, you want to make your profit, you want to flip it into something greater for you, you can do that here. Huge difference.
Yes.
And so it's really trying to help Americans understand those opportunities. But once they do, the process here is much simpler than it is in the
Yes.
United States.
Got it. That's a big thing, you know.
Yes.
I was also not aware of this because, I mean, that is definitely, you know, people can buy and sell off plan here anytime.
Exactly.
You know.
I mean, we've already had a client, one of our clients, for example, purchased just in March.
Yeah.
And he's being offered double of what his...
He has invested.
Yes.
Yes.
What he's invested, but he's still going to hold on to it. And that just does not happen. You wouldn't be able to do that.
Right. When you see the top nationalities investing in Dubai, why do you think Americans are not on the top 10 investors in Dubai? What's stopping them?
So I've definitely asked very ultra high net worth real estate investors these questions.
Yes.
And first of all, it's a lack of awareness and knowledge of what's happening.
Okay.
And sincerely, and I know this is going to sound very self-promotional, but I don't believe that there's anyone else doing what I'm doing of being that connector. It's not, you have a lot of agents here that are actually promoting in the United States, but I am someone who lives in California. I'm established in California. I have a PR brand in California, and I'm selling the opportunities, but mainly through education.
True.
So I believe what's been happening in Dubai is you've all been extremely successful these past several years, right? It's been incredible growth. So that time of taking the time to sit and walk through connecting them with an international tax attorney, connecting the American investors with an accountant, connecting them with the property manager, educating them on the long-term game.
Yeah.
That has been maybe a missing piece, which I'm hoping to bring.
Right.
So education, then a connection,
Yeah.
such as myself, and the fears that we had talked about a little bit
Yes.
before with regards to Dubai being the Middle East. Is it safe to invest?
True.
So, and that all comes through really educating them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, because that definitely makes a big difference because, you know, especially when you're talking to someone who's in a very different region altogether and probably might have not visited Dubai, you know, say someone, you know, is talking to them from Dubai and someone in front of them who's been to Dubai and can give more information that obviously gets them to be more comfortable.
Correct.
You know? Yeah.
And I think the big piece for me that I found was that international tax attorney.
Right.
Because the ones here know about Dubai laws.
Yes.
The ones in the United States know about the US,
The US
laws.
laws.
So with my network now, it's connecting the two.
Yeah.
And ensuring that foreign investors understand the tax implications
Yes.
and how to reduce their taxes by when they're investing in Dubai, because it's a
Right.
whole different ballgame, right?
True, true. And how do you see the markets now back in California?
It's a very tough market in California. There's a little bit of hope
Okay.
with the fact that the Fed just reduced the rate a little bit. So that provides a little hope, but I believe it's going to take several months, hopefully, to turn things around. There's not a lot of inventory, and price per square footage It's significantly more expensive than
What
Dubai.
would be the average price per square foot in California?
It truly depends on the area. So I'm in Southern California, and I'm selling waterfront properties.
Say let's compare a waterfront property. Well, if we talk about a waterfront property there, if someone wants a beachfront house, what's the price per square foot someone's paying?
So let's just say $5 million US dollars would be the price for, let's say, an average house in Coronado Del Mar or La Jolla, if you could even find. That's the problem. There isn't even that inventory.
Wow.
And that's just average. I mean, it goes significantly higher than that.
And are we talking about these are like straight waterfront, beachfront properties, or?
So Coronado, for example, Coronado is a beautiful island. I don't know if you've heard of it. Have you heard of Coronado?
No, I haven't.
It's gorgeous. Actually, there's the landmark, which is the Hotel del Coronado, which is located there. So it's a beautiful area, but no one's giving up their property there. But yes, that is a waterfront. And there are a couple that actually I'm working on selling right now that are in that $5 million range in the Coronado Cays. But they're going to move so quickly because it's so rare to find that opportunity. And they're older homes.
Nice.
These aren't new homes. You'd have to buy it at that.
And refurbish
then refurbish it.
Okay.
And then in La Jolla waterfront, there's little to nothing. But yeah, I'm talking about waterfront. Yeah.
Right. Nice. So significantly, there's a big difference in what's happening there and what you get here. Do you think when investors from the US are considering Dubai, do they compare the prices there and here?
Absolutely. That's one of the huge factors, right? Is that right now, if you compare all the top luxury real estate markets that they could invest in, whether it be, for example, New York, London, some of the other markets, and Dubai, with Dubai, you're still able to enter the market, including a waterfront property, at a significantly lower price per square footage, like a Maritime. Right now, I think it's $700 a square foot. That's not going to happen in San Diego.
Right.
So, of course, the price per square footage and the entry point, because what is that going to do? Maximize ROI over time.
Right. Absolutely. No, that's absolutely there. And do you see a lot of people taking more interest in knowing what's happening in Dubai?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely, there is a lot of interest. There are 2 different shows that are on Netflix that are about Dubai that run in the United States. So that sparked interest in Dubai itself. And that is definitely my hope, is to continue to spark the interest, show the glam life, but like you said, also show the real lifestyle and continue to just share the facts, to share what's happening, to share about your the economic plan in Dubai, doubling in the next 10 years, the sustainability plans in Dubai. So the fact that it's the number 1 place that expats are looking to move to, it's a top global destination according to TripAdvisor, CNN. So, and then the Wynn Casino. So it's that constant education that's going to people that are savvy and that are investors and that are not able to find these opportunities with these capital appreciation or rental returns in a tax-free city, by the way. That's another huge deal, is the property taxes here. You have no property taxes.
Absolutely.
So even though Americans will still have to pay capital appreciation taxes back in the United States, that property tax is a huge game changer.
Right.
So yes, there is interest, because all they want to know is how can they make their money work for them in a safe way, and that's Dubai.
Does the dirham is pegged to the dollar, so there's no fluctuation in the currency.
It's very stable.
Does this actually help them take a decision that it's let's go for it? Do you think that this makes
because it's stable, right? That's stability, absolutely. So it's the faith in that. So that's another huge factor, is that it's so close and it doesn't fluctuate.
Okay, that's interesting. So Gigi, which city would you compare Dubai to back in the US?
So aesthetically, it actually reminds me a lot of San Diego.
Okay.
And I believe one of the major developers, or a few of the developers, actually received their education back in California and were potentially inspired by some of the neighborhoods in San Diego. Business, real estate-wise, Dubai is most similar to Miami.
Okay.
Why? Miami has the off-plan projects. So they're very familiar with the high-rise waterfront off-plan projects where that's not a situation
Yes.
in California.
Got it.
So, and actually visually, there's aesthetically,
I
there's a
mean,
lot
if
of
you go
similarity.
by the waterfront
You've been to Miami.
properties, yes.
Yeah.
So if you go to the, like even if you see Emaar beachfront and other beachfront properties, it does remind you of Miami. That's for sure.
So you have to make it over to San Diego and you'll see a lot of similarities.
Yes,
Even
yes, definitely.
Coronado that I had mentioned earlier, also there's a lot of similarity between Coronado and I mean, I was walking on the beach today in JBR and it was just reminding of me of walking on the beach in Coronado, which is always ranked as one of the top 10 beaches in the entire world.
Wow.
The cleanliness,
Yes.
the cleanliness factor, definitely like San Diego.
Right.
So Dubai is very clean. Climate-wise, probably a little bit more like Miami.
Right.
Because again, you haven't been to
Yes.
San Diego. You have to come. San Diego is perfect weather
Got it.
year round. And I know everyone says that about Dubai.
I mean, I would say 2-3 months are harsh summer, but yes,
So
rest is fine.
San Diego is really, really perfect year round.
That's great.
But honestly, San Diego can get a little small
Yeah.
and a little boring. And it doesn't have as much diverse. It is diverse, okay? And there are definitely a lot of different cultures, nationalities. But Dubai is much more diverse. And I would say Miami is also extremely diverse. But the warmth and the unity of Dubai is the most unique I've ever seen of anywhere I've ever been to in my life.
Absolutely. Tell me something. Before you visited Dubai, I'm sure you have like a notion, a conception in your mind that, okay, this is what you're expecting, right? How did you feel that when you came to Dubai for the first time, like for the before and the after?
Yes. So I was raised by a very strict Middle Eastern father.
Okay.
So I have a rebellious part of me. And I just felt that the Middle East, I lumped it all together of being where a woman didn't really feel powerful.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the biggest misconceptions that I had. And in fact, Dubai, women in business is very respected.
True. Absolutely.
And actually, I believe Dubai has some figures about most women in human resources, which human resource position is a very powerful position.
Absolutely.
And even when I sit amongst, I had told you that one of my best friends who I came to visit, and I sit amongst her and her entire group of friends. Every woman holds such a high role or high position, a strong career, and educated.
Absolutely.
The level of education here, I have yet to meet someone who's not educated.
Yes.
So beyond just, I have a bachelor's, but the master's and above. So when I'm sitting with the women and I feel the power of women here, that is just something that I did not at all expect, and what I really, really, really love about Dubai.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, I would say that, even in real estate, for example, right, you'll see that, there are a lot of women working in real estate, and they are quite well respected, and they also have, I know some agents who are doing really exceptionally well, not just agents, but company owners of real estate companies. And, so yes, that thing is absolutely true.
And and that we were saying the word respect. There's this respectability that I feel.
Absolutely.
I don't feel looked down upon.
Totally.
I feel safe walking around. I mean, I stay here for weeks at a time. I go shopping. I go to the mall. I go out by myself because, I'm here alone for a large part of it. And I feel so safe. True. I would send my daughters here alone. So definitely, I always had heard about the safety, really.
Yeah.
But so that didn't surprise me. But the women in business is so admirable.
True.
And how it should be.
Do you think, is safety and security a concern for people who are looking at moving to Dubai, say maybe from the US or Canada?
Tahir, my daughter lives in Chicago.
Okay.
She attends college there. When she walks out of her door, she's not even allowed to make a left. Because if she goes down to the left, that is the highest crime area in the United States. So I'm sure and I don't even want to get into it because it's a whole nother topic of the lack of safety in the United States with, shootings and et cetera. So absolutely that is a top of mind. And the conversation I've been having with Canadians, I didn't find that Canadians not safe, but the conversations that I'm having with them, when I ask them what's bringing you to Dubai, the first thing they say is safety for my family,
Right.
and just that family unit. But yes, in the United States, safety is a huge topic. So now we're talking about not just the investors and the people that are moving. And unfortunately, that's definitely a factor.
Right. Got it. Tell me something. When you talk about cost of living, right? And you said San Diego is one of the most expensive cities.
The
right?
most expensive.
The most expensive cities. Okay, so let's not consider the most expensive city. But when you talk about the other cities, right? How do you find the cost of living, or in general, how do you find Dubai as compared to those cities in terms of cost?
So I've actually studied this a little bit. I find Dubai to be on par with San Diego. It is not an inexpensive
Right.
cost of living
Yeah.
here. So, and I've talked to all my friends, and I looked up the statistics, and I looked up the numbers, and especially if you're sending your kids, for example, to private schools, and if you're going to the restaurants are not inexpensive.
Yeah.
The biggest difference, though, is that you aren't paying taxes here on your income. So let's say for the same cost of living comparable to another city in the United States, we're being taxed 30 or 40% on our income.
Right.
So we can make the same income, right? Have the same cost of living or comparable, but you have a lot more to work with than I do.
Right.
So that's one of the huge factors.
Got it. That actually makes a big difference.
A huge,
Yeah.
30 to 40%.
Absolutely. So Gigi, I think that was a really great conversation, and I think definitely when people, especially if they're watching from the US or Canada, they would really find value in this. And this is this. I mean, it was quite insightful for myself. For me as well, because even when I talk to clients from the US and Canada, there are a lot of objections, and they have different image and different impression about Dubai. But when they come over here, they're like, this is totally different, So I think that was really great. Thanks a lot for coming on the show and, being over here. And we look forward to seeing you more in Dubai.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Most welcome.
Thank
Most
you.
welcome. Thank you.